What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Last season, I did a daily recap for each game called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I'm doing something similar again this season, except instead of daily after each game, it's going to be weekly, looking at how the players did throughout the week. While I'm talking about each player, let me know if you're happy with what you saw, you weren't happy, what the team needs to work on, or what an individual player may need to work on that I missed in the comments down below. Of course, while I'm going all over this, hit that thumbs up if you'd like to support the channel. And so be sure to subscribe for more Spurs content. Let's get into it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start off. The Spurs were 1-2 last week, and a lot of fans might go, man, we're starting off losing already. You know what? I'm proud of this team. We destroyed the Magic, which they're a rebuilding team, so we should have. We played a playoff team with one of the best players in the NBA, with Denver Nuggets and Jokic, and we're very competitive and had a good chance of winning that game. And we faced the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks, who have one of the best players in the league, and Giannis. And we kept that game close until the end of the game. And that was a back-to-backer. When you factor in the Spurs three-point shooting, which, quite frankly, was bad to ugly in those two games against the Nuggets and the Bucks, we held in there, and that gives me a lot of confidence that this team may be better than advertised moving forward throughout the season. Let's go ahead and take a look at each player and how they did for the week. Let's start off. We're going to just go from our one spot to our five and then hit the main role players off the bench. Starting off with Dejounte Murray. I had Dejounte kind of a tweener. I had him good and bad. I absolutely love that stat you see here. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2.3 steals. And I think Dejounte can maintain that throughout the season. And that's what I was hoping for. Get those assist numbers up. And I like what I'm seeing there. That being said, his scoring is down. He's averaging 13.3 points per game because he is really struggling with his shooting, which is why I also have him rated as bad. He was shooting very well in the preseason, hitting about 40% of his three-pointers, but right now he's only hitting 10% of his three-pointers, which has brought his overall field goal percentage down to around 37%. I do think he'll get better throughout the season. Right now he is struggling a little bit, so he's kind of good and bad, but I certainly feel that as the season progresses, he's going to be more good than bad. Moving right along to somebody that a lot of you are saying should come off the bench, Derrick White. Derrick, I'm going to say, I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to rate him as good for last week. Shot about 47% from the field. He also chipped in 6.7 assists, 2.3 steals, plus a block, not to mention the fact he's taking charges, so he's creating a lot of turnovers on the defensive end. He's not filling up the stat sheet scoring-wise, averaging 15.3 points per game. I think a lot of us expect him to be around 18 to 20. But you know what? Maybe that's down a little bit because he's getting so many assists. I like what I'm seeing out of Derrick. Keep up the good work, and he is hitting about 38% of his threes. And 38% of your threes right now on this team is really good. Next up in line, my boy, Keldon Johnson. Because, you know, every time he does something, which admittedly I love. Keldon, I also rated as good. He shot a phenomenal 56% from the field, and that included a lot of short and mid-range jumpers, so you could clearly see he worked on that. He didn't hit any of his threes, though, and he averaged about 2 attempts from beyond the arc a game. So the fact that his shooting percentage is that high, despite the fact he missed all his threes, is really impressive. He did give 1.3 steals a game, and also he's our leading scorer, 20.7 points per game. And if he starts draining some of those threes and gets his free throw percentage up, something I do think he needs to work on for whatever reason, each season is going down. He's only hitting about 61% right now. If he can bump that up to 75%, and start hitting a three here and there, Keldon could average 24 to 25 points per game. It's not out of the question. Pop seems to be running a lot of plays for him. So overall, I like what I'm seeing from Keldon. And as always, I love the energy, the fire that he brings to the team. So Keldon, good job this week. Moving right along at the 4th spot, we got Doug McBucket. Some people call him the Doug McDormat because of his rather poor game against the Nuggets. But overall, I gave Doug a good for the week. He was excellent against the Magic and Bucks. He had a rough game in between, but shooters are like that. They're going to be streaky. They're going to be hot and cold. He was hot, cold, hot. It is what it is. Still, he still had a great week, shooting 58% from the field and a phenomenal 55% from beyond the arc. We brought him in to be shooting ball, and Doug is shooting the ball. Now, I'd like to see a little more statistically from other areas in his game. 2.3 rebounds, 1 assist. No steals, no blocks. But you know what? He's scoring. He's 14 points per game. He's our third leading scorer, and he's making jumpers, and he's going to help spread the floor if he keeps shooting threes like he is. So I like what I'm seeing from Doug so far, so keep up the good work as well. Next, the turtle himself, as we call him on my channel, Jakob Poeltl. And Jakob, I also thought he had a good week, shooting a crazy 69% from the field right now. Yes, that's a lot of close range shots, but it also is a lot of dunks. Yes, Jakob Poeltl, finally, finally, Jakob Poeltl is dunking the ball more. I think he had 3 dunks in a game. Maybe was it against the Magic or Nuggets? I can't remember. But he's finally throwing it down. The thunder dunk of justice, and we need that in his. We need those from him. And I like what I'm seeing from Jakob. 9.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists. Jakob is really passing the ball well right now, and he's averaging 12.3 points per game. The only flaw I see in his game right now is I'd like to see his blocks go up. He's averaging 0.7. So he hasn't really been block of Poeltl so far this season, but I expect those numbers to go up. But overall, I literally like what I saw from Jakob this week. Up next, Skywalker, if you only knew the power of the dark side. Lonnie Walker. Lonnie, I thought, was a mixed bag. I gave him good and bad. First off, he had some crazy athletic drives last week where he's just jumping into the lane, contorting all over the place, and then throwing up a crazy shot and was making a lot of those 2-point field goal attempts. The reason I gave him a bad rating as well, though, is he's really struggling from beyond the arc, which most of our team is, minus the Magic game. Shot only 26% from beyond the three-point line, which brought his overall field goal percentage under 40% to .395. Otherwise, I like what I'm seeing out of Lonnie. As soon as those three start going in, I think he'll be not good/bad. I think he'll be just good overall. Up next, we're going to look at the other 3 primary players off our bench. Devin Vassell. There you are. Devin started off the week, exploded against the Magic to lead the team in scoring. If I remember correctly, I think he had 19 points. Now, his offense has tapered since then, but still, I think Devin, I'm going to give him a good week. Shooting 40% from the field, a phenomenal 1.7 steals off the bench. Consider he's coming off the bench and not starting. I think he's getting about 20 minutes per game, chipping in 9.7 points plus 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Even when he's struggling on offense a little bit the last few games, I still feel like his defense has been there. So I'm going to give him a good rating, and I think as the season progresses, he's going to continue to improve on what we've seen already. So Devin, good job. Up next, Drew Eubanks. Drew, good overall. I mean, he's doing what we expect. It's not here on the stat line, but if you kept track of Thunder dunks of justice, Drew would be leading the team. He's had a lot of offensive rebound dunks. I love his energy. Shooting 63% from the field, 4.7 rebounds, and giving us, actually only 3.3 points, but his minutes are limited. He's doing what we expect off the bench. So overall, I think he's doing pretty good. I'd like to see the turnovers come down a little bit. He still is a little turnover prone. I think he's averaging about 2 turnovers per game. I'd like to see those come down, and I'll be happy. That being said, I absolutely love every player on our team, whether I'm rooting for him or not, or if I'm criticizing. I'm always rooting for him, but if I'm criticizing him in one of these recaps or during a live stream, I'm always, I love each player and hope they do well. That being said, I don't think this combination of Jakob Poeltl and Drew Eubanks is going to sustain the Spurs over the long haul. I don't think that's our future. The reason being, the league has changed incredibly since the days of David Robinson and Tim Duncan. You need a big man that can hit the 3. And yes, I know Drew Eubanks is shooting like 100% on threes. He's taken, 2 or 3 in his NBA career, but Jakob and Drew do not spread the floor. And we have Jock Lindell waiting on the bench, waiting to get some minutes, and Zach Collins, if he can be the player that Portland thought he could be, and if he can turn the player the Spurs hope he can be and stay injury-free, our centers in the future, maybe even early as next year, could be Zach Collins and Jock Lindell. I believe Drew and Jakob both have 1 more year on their contract, and I adore them both, and I hope they play well. And I like what I'm seeing out of Yak this year, but we need a big guy that can shoot the 3. Or maybe the rotation will be Yak and Zach, or Yak and Jacques. It's so confusing, Yak and Jacques. But I just want to get my 2 cents there. I'm pushing for them to play well this year, but I think long term the Spurs we may see a shift right there because we need a big that can shoot the 3. Last but not least, I put Drew's picture up? I don't remember. Oh, there he is. It hurts me to do this. I got to give Bryn Forbes an ugly, and that's not a typo in the statistics if you can read them. He shot 10% from the field last week in the 3 games. Now his minutes were limited. Pop played him in the second quarter of the Magic game and the Nuggets game, and he didn't see action again. In the Bucks, he did play in the first half and second half, but he has really been struggling after a good preseason. 10% from the field, 11% from beyond the arc. Doesn't really give us much defensively. I do believe the effort is there, but he just doesn't have it. He's not a good defensive player. It is what it is. That's not what we brought him here. We brought him here to score and make threes, and he's not doing that. He's averaging 1 point per game. He was scoreless in the first 2 games of the year and scored his first bucket last night, and he hit a three, his only shot that went in. Bryn is in an absolute slump right now, and I feel like, and I'm not going to advocate for him being benched. I know some fans are like, bench him, play Primo. Not yet. Shooters are streaking. That being said, if we see 5 more games like this from Bryn, if he's just really struggling and his shooting percentage stays at 25% or less, I might be on board with playing Josh Primo. But I want to give Bryn a chance to shoot his way out of it, so to speak. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. Let's talk about some incomplete grades because they didn't play very much. Speaking of Josh Primo, I like what I see. He played very limited action against the Bucks last night and played, I think, 5 or 6 minutes against the Magic. He's hit both his shots. He's 2 of 2, 100% for the year. Very excited for the 18-year-old. He's so poised and confident on the court, and he could take somebody's minutes, especially Bryn Forbes, if he continues to struggle. Trey Jones, limited action. Like what I saw point guard. He could be a backup point guard for us in the future. I like what I see. KBD, Keita Bates-Diop, efficient. Don't have, hasn't played a lot either, but when he's out there, he's been efficient. Jacques Lindell, jury's out, hasn't got a lot of playing time, so I'm not sure yet. I think as he gets acclimated to the team, he will play very well for us. Thaddeus Young. No disrespect to Thad, but I just want to say in the Nuggets game, he was playing center. We went with that whole small ball thing where Rudy Gay used to play center last year. I did not like that. I did not like seeing Thad at center. If we're going to bring Thad in, I'm A-okay with putting him in at power forward, but I don't ever want to see him playing at center again. It just doesn't work. And that's my thoughts on the team, my friends. Upcoming, this week we got a tough schedule again. We got the Lakers, the Mavs, and the Bucks. Now, lucky for us, the Lakers seem a little dysfunctional right now, so maybe we can catch them at the right time and steal a win out of there. And if we can go 2-1 this week, 2 wins, 1 loss, and I think I've heard the Mavericks are struggling a little bit right now too. I haven't followed them, but I think they're having some troubles. We can come out of that week 2-1 and go into the next week 3-3. I think that's an accomplishment when you look at this schedule. Very tough at the beginning, but I'm excited about this team. I know we're 1-2, but I really like what I saw last week, and I think we have something to build on. And let me know in the comments down below. Are you excited about last week? Who are you excited about the most? Etc., etc., etc. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, and as always, go Spurs, go!